Jacinda Ardern of New Zealand. The main topics of our meeting today, among others, include the review and future direction of the AES, cooperation and exchange of views on regional and international issues. In the interest of time, I propose that we combine discussions of these topics with the request that leaders make one omnibus intervention within the allotted time of 6 minutes. Allow me to provide a brief context of our meeting. Our region is facing complex challenges that perhaps only a few have imagined decades ago. Technological developments and a more open economic region have resulted in our societies becoming more interconnected. So too, however, our problems become intertwined. The effects of migration, environmental degradation, and armed conflict in one equation can have repercussions across the world. The impact of climate change is being felt almost accurately by the marginalized in our societies who are at least able to cope. We have also been made painfully aware that terrorism knows no borders and that violent extremists are becoming more adept at exploiting power vacuums, instability, and discontent to spread the narrative, hatred, and destruction. This is a summit with the ASEAN at the helm is a mechanism by which strategic dialogues in the evolving regional security architecture takes place. Cooperation established at the highest level will impact our pursuit of maintaining peace, security, and prosperity of our regions. Before I continue, may I request, I'm really sorry, but that's the rule. It says, sir, it's not it's a working paper. Before I continue, may I request the media to leave the room. It's not part of my drama. So you all have to understand that. I know that you like it. I want you to participate. The problem is the working papers of the Secretariat do not like you.
All right, that was the 12th East Asia Summit, or EAS, happening between Monday to Tuesday, happening in Manila, the capital city of the Philippines, and Chinese Premier Li Keqiang is also attending. Now, China's industrial output and real estate investment cooled last month, while fixed asset investment and retail sales grew slower than expected. And this all suggests the economy may be losing some steam as the government cracks down on debt risks and pollution. Industrial output rose 6.2% in October from a year earlier, down from a 6.6% increase in September. Property investment grew 5.6% in October from a year earlier, cooling from the expansion of 9.2% in September. October's growth was the slowest since July. Fixed asset investment growth slowed to 7.3% in the January-October period. And the retail sales gained 10% in October year-on-year, slower than expected 10.4% rise. And retail sales growth has hovered in the 10 to 11% range for the last 2 years, in a sign of resilient domestic demand. And many analysts expect that even with some loss of momentum in the fourth quarter, China's economic growth will easily meet or even beat the government's full-year target of around 6.5%. And that's all for this edition of The World Today on CGTN. I'm Li Dongning in Beijing. Thanks for watching.
This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Coming up on Sports Scene, Italy on the edge. If Italy can't overcome a 1-0 deficit to Sweden in their World Cup qualifying playoff, the Azzurri will miss the finals for the first time since 1958. Tricolor test. Following their 2-0 loss to Serbia, China welcomed Colombia for a friendly, hoping for a positive result against the South Americans who are gearing up for Russia. And David's delight. David Goffin manages to pull off a shock by defeating world number 1 Rafael Nadal in the Belgians' first match of the ATP Finals. Hello and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Sports Scene. I'm Greg Lafredi in Beijing. We begin in Milan, where Italy faced the prospect of missing out on the World Cup for the first time since 1958 when they hosted Sweden. The Azzurri came in 1-0 down from the first leg thanks to an Andreas Isaksson deflected shot in Stockholm last week. And in front of a packed San Siro, they aimed to turn the tide and avoid what would be a national embarrassment. Sweden, looking to reach the finals for the first time since 2006, come in with the advantage against the under-pressure hosts. The home fans try to create a hostile atmosphere with placards making up the Italian flag. 5 minutes in, Italy's Alessandro Florenzi tries his luck with a volley, but sends it wide. As expected, the Swedes play defensively, and in the 8th minute, Marco Parolo thinks he's won a penalty, but the referee disagrees. Controversial no call from the man in black. Sweden think they should have a penalty 5 minutes later when Matteo Darmian appears to handle the ball, but once again the ref remains silent. The Azzurri nearly get off the mark 5 minutes before the break. Jorginho finds Ciro Immobile, whose shot is cleared off the line by captain Andreas Granqvist. The home side continued to press after the break. Darmian's cross finds Florenzi, but the Roma midfielder fires wide. Italy's captain Gianluigi Buffon cannot hide his frustration. Gianpiero Ventura sends on more attacking options 18 minutes into the second half, but their introductions can't break the Swedish defense, although Mikael Lustig nearly heads into his own net. The defender's blush is saved by the top of the woodwork. The Azzurri fight until the last minute, and even Buffon tries his luck in attack. Federico Bernardeschi's shot will be blocked, and the referee blows the final whistle. 0-0 is how it ends. Sweden go through 1-0 on aggregate for the Scandinavians' first appearance on the world stage since 2006. While it's nothing but tears and trauma for Italy, who will miss out for the first time in 59 years. The Italians unable to turn their 75% of possession into a win, and shortly afterwards, a crushed Buffon announces his international retirement.
Very regretful. I do not feel sorry for myself. I feel sorry for the sport of football. We screwed this up, and it's very important for Italy. That's why I feel so bitter. I will not regret the end of my national team career, because as time goes by, I have to retire someday. What I regret is that in my final official game with the national team, we failed to qualify for the World Cup.
Well, here are the 13 qualified teams from Europe so far. 9 of them went through as group winners, while Sweden, Croatia and Switzerland advanced via the playoffs. The 14th and final position is up for grabs when Denmark plays the Republic of Ireland later today. And here are the final 3 games of qualifying. Ireland host Denmark, Australia take on Honduras at home, while New Zealand face Peru. All the 3 first legs ended 0-0, which will make for some close contests. So Buffon's stellar international career ends with a whimper, as the longtime Italian goalkeeper and captain, considered by many to be one of the greatest of all time, confirmed he is retiring from duty after the Azzurri failed to qualify for the World Cup. Here's a look at some of Buffon's achievements for his country. The 39-year-old played his record 175th and final game for Italy, bringing an end to his 20-year international career that included winning the 2006 World Cup and reaching the final of the 2012 European Championships. Buffon made his debut for the Azzurri as a 19-year-old in a 1998 World Cup playoff victory over Russia, but his last match saw him fail in his bid to become the first man to play in 6 World Cups. On an individual level, Buffon was runner-up for the Ballon d'Or in 2006 and was named the best FIFA goalkeeper this year. The Juventus captain has also said he will likely retire from all football at the end of this season. And now that the unthinkable has happened and Italy is out of the World Cup, CCTV football commentator Zhu Xiaoyu shared his thoughts on the Azzurri's failed campaign.
In this current Italy squad, they have some talented players, but no clear superstar. Still, this is not a normal result, with Italy failing to qualify for the 2018 World Cup. Coach Gian Piero Ventura's tactics left much to be desired, and he will bear the responsibility. I think his coaching abilities are limited, and he did not make many changes to his strategy, as Italy used a 4-2-4 formation in most of their qualifiers. They did fine against weak teams, but when they faced powerful sides, Italy seemed lost, as their results showed.
China's men's national team have been getting ready to face Colombia in a friendly later today. After coming up short in their recent bid to qualify for the World Cup, Coach Marcello Lippi is aiming to try out some new players against the strong South American side who will be playing in Russia. Only 20 Chinese players joined the training session on Monday, while others took extra time off to recover from their 2-0 loss to Serbia on Friday. The hosts are expected to field a different lineup than in their friendly against the Europeans, with a greater emphasis on attacking, as China are keen to show that they can find the net against the top teams. Lippi has said he wants to try out new players to potentially bolster the squad, as the Italian World Cup winning coach looks ahead to the China Cup in March of next year and then the 2019 AFC Asian Cup. Lippi wanted stiff tests for these friendlies to challenge his players and give them chances to learn from top teams, which is exactly what he got.
We will continually test our players, including veterans such as the team leader Feng Xiaoting, as well as our 4 new players and some U-2012s, to make the Chinese national team become much stronger.
Colombia qualified for the World Cup by finishing 4th in South America last month. They lost 2-1 to South Korea in a friendly on Friday. Colombia's Giovanni Moreno of Shanghai Shenhua will be facing some familiar faces from the CSL when he takes the pitch in Chongqing, with the visitors expecting to be challenged by an improved China squad.
I think China's national team has gone through big changes since Lippi took charge of them. We are fully prepared for the game after watching some of our opponents play in World Cup qualifiers, and we are expecting to play with them, although some of our veterans could not come.
Time for a quick breather, but we'll be back in just a moment with tennis highlights. Nagging knee. Rafael Nadal is beaten by David Goffin, and shortly after, the world #1 pulls out of the ATP finals with a recurring knee injury.
This is CGTN.
You're watching CGTN. I'm Jeff Moody, live in Beijing.
You're watching CGTN.
Coming to you from Washington, D.C.
You're watching CGTN.
Coming to you from my room.
I'm members of the
Mark, what can you tell us about events happening there?
politics.
This is a pretty picture. $100 you can see on the van.
Back over to Beijing.
To go after them.
It's all about the
This is CGTN. CGTN. See the difference.
The ongoing road project is going to greatly increase patrol efficiency.
Race trade between China and Thailand started more than 200 years ago.
Welcome back, and it's time for tennis and the season-ending ATP Finals in London. Rafael Nadal looked fine walking onto court to receive a trophy on Sunday, as the Spaniard is guaranteed to finish the year as world #1 for his 4th time. But questions lingered over how well he could run on that same court when he faced David Goffin in his first match in the Pete Sampras group. Rafa pulled out of the Paris Masters 2 weeks ago with a knee injury, and his health would be tested by the Belgian. That's Rafa serving at the bottom of the screen with the first set tied 5-5. Nadal seems to be moving well, but Goffin breaks him and later wins the frame in a tiebreak. Nadal falls behind 5-3 in the second as Goffin looks to close out the top seed in straight sets. They trade shots on the line, and it's Rafa who has the last laugh as he goes on to break the Belgian. But it's match point now for Goffin, who is unable to get to this ball as Nadal later wins the game and then the set in a tiebreaker. On match point, that ace gives Goffin the third set 6-4 as the Belgian beats the top seed to start his campaign. After the loss, Nadal would announce that he is pulling